Hi, everybody. Welcome to Queers and Soaps. I'm Tommy, and I'm once again joined by my lovely co-host, Angel.
Hi, good evening, as you can tell from outside.
um, this week we are covering Poor Charles, Tainted Love, Week 3. And as a special bonus, we're also going to talk about General Hospital because this was the week of the Nurses' Ball, and there was a little bit of crossover action happening. So I will roll the credits, and we'll get right into it. So before we get into like the details of the Nurses' Ball, I guess we should probably just talk about the other things that were happening for the characters that weren't involved in the Nurses' Ball.
Yeah.
So really quick, Ian and Eve got engaged officially.
Yay! Finally.
He
Finally.
gave her a clattering, and I was like, "Ooh, I know what one of those is because of Buffy."
Yes.
So for those who don't know what a clattering is, it's a ring with a heart with hands around it and a crown.
Mm-hmm.
And the crown stands for loyalty, the hands stand for friendship, and the heart stands for love. And if you're wearing it with the point of the heart sticking out, that means you're available. But if it's pointed in, that means you belong to somebody.
No.
I memorized that from Buffy when Angel explained it to her. So when he was talking about it, I was like, yep, that's what it means.
David Boreanaz Angel, not this Angel.
David Boreanaz. Oh, yeah. Didn't even think of that. So for those who are wondering, apparently there's a character named Angel on General Hospital around this time. And
and not other Angel. I was referring to myself, but I want to forget about the white.
All right. There's so many angels.
Lady in white.
Ian suggests that Michael marry them, and that makes Eve really happy. At the hospital, Andy is putting out an APB on Allison, Jamal, and Livy for Jack's death, even though there's no proof that Jack's dead or that they killed him.
Mm-hmm.
But going off of this hunch because of Sam, they are suspicious that maybe they had something to do with Zach's death.
Yeah.
So that's why they are considered armed and dangerous.
Sam the letter slut, not Sam McCall.
Yes.
That always happens to me. I'm like, why is he talking about Sam McCall? I'm like, wait, I forgot about her.
Maybe she'll die soon and we'll never have to say the name Sam again.
We'll never have to say her name again.
This part was a little bit cut off, so I don't think we got the full conversation. But we basically picked up with Caleb and Michael in the basement that Caleb's been locked up in. Same argument. You can't go out and hurt people and do what you do. And Caleb is fixated on Livy because she looks like somebody named Olivia, and so now he's calling her Olivia. Michael, apparently, so he said something that made me go, It sounded like him and Michael may have fought over the original Olivia. Like maybe before Michael was a priest.
Vampire Diaries type of thing.
Yeah,
and I was also Vampire Diaries.
I was also thinking Dark Shadows.
Yeah,
getting a lot of Dark Shadow vibes from it.
Mm-hmm.
They argue, and Caleb pushes Michael over and runs up the stairs, and he locks Michael in the basement. Jack's alive. He came behind Livy. I forgot about that part.
That probably should have been the first thing we said. But that was the last thing we said, so pay attention, everybody.
Livy thinks she's daydreaming because she's awake. She can't believe it. She's hugging him. He looks a little pale.
Mm-hmm.
He doesn't really have a memory. He just remembers that he had this feeling that he needed to be by the water. Like he felt drawn to the water.
Mm-hmm.
But he doesn't remember anything like after her holding him in her arms when he died.
He said he remembers himself walking a lot.
Okay.
Walking, and it was him being drawn to the water, to the, what is it called? The woods. I guess the
woods, yeah.
The woods, yeah. I guess there's a river by the woods. I don't know. Lake by the woods. I don't know.
So are these supposed to be the same woods that everybody's afraid of now?
Yes, it's the same woods.
All right. Allison and Jamal show up, and Allison faints when she sees Jack.
Yeah, I would too.
Everybody is hesitant to believe that Jack is alive, but they're relieved and decide to just move on and keep it between them, and nobody needs to know what happened. But as they're saying this, Lucy and Kevin walk up and they're like, "What are you guys talking about? What happened?" um, they're very vague. They kind of dance around the subject, and the police show up,
Or
and
a policeman.
a policeman shows up and holds them at gunpoint. And it looked like Jack was going to be like, "What are you doing?" Like, and he tripped forward and the gun went off. And that's how the episode ended. So we're made to believe that maybe somebody got shot. But this made me cringe because then when we picked up, he specifically said he thought all had a gun, and I was like, "This doesn't feel good." I don't.
This as the black person on the podcast. This is not right. Why is it gotta be Jamal? Why is it gotta
Right.
be the person who's the same hue as me? Why is it gotta be him? Huh?
Yeah.
Jamal wasn't aiming for a gun. That cop was clearly white. Jamal's clearly black.
And Jamal's not the one that like kind of
on.
fell forward or stepped forward. It was Jack. Like
It was Jack that stepped forward.
but you were shooting at the person of color. Like it didn't feel great. Especially not knowing who the EP was. It just yeah, I didn't like that. Jamal says he didn't have a piece, meaning he didn't have a gun, for those who don't know what that means. And Lucy and Andy shows up, and they all argue. Lucy, Kevin, the cops.
Me, I was arguing with him too.
They're like, clearly Sam's lying.
Really?
Jack's here.
And then the fact that he is Dara Jensen, who was the DA at the time, or was she a DA, or was she? They didn't mention her. She isn't in these episodes.
Okay.
The fact that he is related to Dara Jensen, that is also problematic.
Yeah, I thought about her.
Mm-hmm.
She's not in these episodes.
She's in these episodes. She's in the GH episodes.
Okay, so then I did see her because I was waiting.
Yeah.
When we get to it.
Yeah, we'll get
Also, I was taking note of how much Lucy was involved in these episodes while also being on GH, and I'm like, wow, they really put her to work.
Yeah.
Unless they just shot it on the same lot and just like edited it.
I think like the I guess the General Hospital universe is all shot at Prospect, so I'm thinking that's how we're able to get like these crossovers.
Okay.
I don't know where it will be shot in Prospect, but somebody more knowledgeable than me can comment.
So nobody was shot, although they all thought Jack was. And he was, but he deflected the bullet because something strange is going on. We kind of get a glance of the bullet on the ground, but nobody else sees it until later. Meanwhile, Joseph is waiting for his, I guess, 6-month HIV, like second round of results to make sure he's completely negative. And while that's going on, in the hospital, they're preparing for the nurses' ball. And he tells Gabby that he might take Eve's job that she was going to take to get out of town, where there was like one doctor in town and live there, which makes her sad, but he asks her to come with him.
Oh. Knowing the outcome.
I was a little sad for him knowing that Gabby sticks around, and I know he doesn't. So.
She sticks around for a little while. I don't know how long. I think maybe through Tempted. I'm not sure.
Oh, she's not around that much longer after that?
I don't think so. I don't remember her in Miracles Happen though, but it could be.
Hmm.
Yeah.
I don't know why I thought she was on till the end of the show.
No, she was no her. I guess. Well, I guess would be. Well, I don't want to say. Well, I'll just say it's her brother. Her brother is on the show. He does come
Okay.
on later
Okay.
because it's established that she has a big family. So
More than
we
one
we
brother?
met.
Because we did meet a brother, sort of, when last week.
Yeah, we got a brother, and then we're getting another brother.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
But by the time the opening credits change, we get the brother. So we get another
Okay.
brother. So.
Um, Back at the lake or river, whatever it is, everybody goes their separate ways, but not before Lucy finds the bullet on the ground.
Mm.
So she takes it. And Jamal is questioning the way the why is Jack alive and the way he's acting. And he decides that they're all going to go back to the burial site in the morning. This was weird to have a split like day on one episode, especially a half-hour episode. It
Yeah.
was like a brand new day midway. Because Lucy and Kevin are in bed now, and it's the next morning, and she's getting bad vibes.
hmm
um, so they go back to it, and it looks like Jack exploded out of the coffin because it's just like a mess. um,
I like the overhead shot of the.
I was just happy to be really outside again. I was like, oh yay, we're doing
Yeah.
these shots again.
I wonder if those. See, it didn't say in the credits, and we all know who directed this episode. Just, I mean, I mean, I forgot to post it, but it's Alar. I wonder who. I wonder if they if they filmed everything they needed the time that they did shoot those
Oh wow,
outdoor
they had
scenes
the
while they had
location.
well, they had a location, and then they just left that over for that. But they forgot to credit Andrew Lee, which I know did this because of that. That just looked like his
His
style.
style. um, so everybody's really confused. They're like, "What the hell happened?"
hmm
Um, Jack was like, I think he said something like maybe there was an air pocket, and that's how he was able to stay alive. Um, and it just made me think of I mentioned this recently, I think on the Dark Shadows podcast, of how back in the day they didn't used to embalm, and that's how wakes came along because people got buried alive a lot. So it was kind of like how they wanted to make sure that the body was dead.
hmm
And it made me think about how, well, obviously they didn't embalm Jack, so he could have been buried alive.
Yeah, just like Carly
Right.
and Sheridan and Jessica and was it Maggie? I want to say, or no, Vivian.
It was supposed to
Was
be Maggie, but I think it
it
ended up
Maggie?
being Vivian.
It was Vivian.
um, so I watched the Nurses Ball on GH's episodes first, which was probably out of order.
hmm
Especially because I know Poor Charles came on first here, and then it was GH.
hmm
Because there were things that hadn't happened yet on Poor Charles that were kind of resolved on GH. um, so there was a bus accident, a bus/train accident.
hmm
Apparently, I don't know if the signals didn't go down or the bus got stuck on the tracks, but a
The bus
train hit a
stalled
bus.
on the tracks.
Okay. Um, and Karen and Serena were taking a trip to New York City.
hmm
I'm not sure if they were on the bus or the train. Unsure. I think they
Yeah,
were on
I'm
the
not sure.
train.
It wasn't clear.
Um, so on General Hospital, I'm watching this, and they're just saying there was a train accident. I'm not even thinking Karen or Serena.
hmm
And Sky Quartermain at the time, she still thinks she's a Quartermain, um, had given Xander and Emily money to run away, basically.
hmm
And I think they were on the bus that got hit by the train.
hmm
So they're brought
Oh
into
wait. So Serena and okay, I remember now. Serena and Karen were on the train. Emily and Xander were on
Xander
the
were on the
bus.
bus. Okay.
Yeah, because I remember Lucy saying, or either Lucy or Kevin, I'm forgetting which character, saying that like the the train from Manhattan.
Yes. Okay. Yeah, that makes sense now. Um, so the nurses' ball is supposed to start, and I've said this before. I've never seen a full nurses' ball. You had mentioned that the nurses usually open it with like an
Hmm.
opening act, and they were all set to do that, but because of this accident, there's a lot of people being brought in, so all the doctors and nurses now have to go downstairs.
Hmm.
Oh, side note. Apparently there was a flood at the Port Charles Hotel, and that's where it was supposed to be held, and they had an emergency relocate, so now it's on the roof of the hospital on
Yep.
the
Which
helicopter landing.
Which, if there was a, you know what, I'll say it. If there was an emergency like that, and people with like a train and a bus crash, I am
Mhm.
so sure that people would have been airlifted.
Yeah, I thought about that too.
Yeah,
I was like, that's kind of not safe, but okay, we'll just go with
yeah, we'll go with it. Go with it.
it. So the first performance, the opening act, was now replaced by Edward Quartermain and AJ, played by Billy Warlock at the time. And who else was there? Mac,
Mac, John J. York,
um, oh,
Taggart. I think Taggart
Taggart,
was.
and was it what's his name?
Who's the other
Oh, the one from Santa Barbara.
guy? Roy
Roy, yeah,
DeLuca. Yep, I
yes.
remember him.
Was he an evil, like, did he turn bad?
They. I don't- mm.
I feel like
So
when
he's
Brenda
a friend
came
with
back,
the
he was,
Jills.
like, working for Alcazar.
I think that's what wound up happening. But he's a friend of Jill's, and
Oh.
they didn't know what. Because remember, um, not Real. Oh my god, I'm thinking of Tiger because I really wanted to be Trina's father. A. Martinez, was on Santa Barbara. Jill Farron Phelps was the music producer and executive
Oh, that's
producer of
right.
Santa Barbara. Him and Jill go way back to
Okay.
the point where his daughter is named Farron.
Are you kidding me?
Yeah, his daughter
Oh,
is named
wow.
Farron. So
Wow.
they're tight. They're tight.
I'm surprised, did he ever go to Y&R?
I don't think he
I don't
did.
think he did, right? I'm
I don't think
surprised
he
he
did.
never made
Yeah,
an
which
appearance there.
that wouldn't have surprised me if he. That wouldn't have surprised me if that ever happened. But I know he didn't.
Huh. Well, anyway, so now it was, the original song, but now it's being sung by this group of men led
Mhm.
by Alan Quartermain, not Alan, Edward
Edward.
Quartermain. And it's in his Kiss,
Hmm.
which was
That's
funny.
a
I thought it
cute
was really
song.
cute.
I actually really liked it.
I did too.
I feel like
Um,
the nurses' balls of today don't have that same charm as I mean, except for the one when it came back.
mhm.
I really liked it, but I think subsequent ones, except whatever one was with Magic Milo, and Molly was like, "Woo, TJ, take it off." That one is the one I love.
Isn't that like a staple now that the men strip?
Yes, yes, it is.
uh,
I think it might have been the first nurses' ball coming back with
uh,
Don
Probably
and
because Magic Mike was pretty new back
yeah,
then.
Magic. Oh yeah.
um, so then another performance is Lucky, Nicholas, and Gia, which I was like, oh my god, I forgot about Nicholas and Gia. I actually like this Nicholas because he was the Nicholas that was on when I was watching.
I like this Gia. I didn't like the other Gia.
I didn't like the other Gia either.
No, like I didn't like her.
And it's funny, the year that she started on GH, she was on Days for like a scene like that summer. She was like somebody working at like ballistics,
Hmm.
while Chloe was looking for her last blast dress for the first last blast.
Wow.
So when I see her, I'm like, "Oh my god, I can't believe she, like, went on to be big on GH after
And
that."
then she wound up being on, after GH, she was, Carmen on Young and the Restless.
Yes, I remember
Ah, that scene with her
that.
and Drusilla.
Yes.
Classic.
Um, so what did they sing? I can't even remember the song. Um,
Oh my gosh, what was the song? Was it that see, I thought the song was okay, I thought the song was, from, what's oh my god. My art teacher used to play him in class. James Taylor. It sounded like the Up on the Roof by James Taylor, but I'm not 100%. I was gonna look it up, but I never did.
it sounded familiar,
It
and every
sounded
time
a
I
lot
thought it
like
was
it.
a song, it wasn't, and I'm like, "But this sounds like a song I know."
Yeah, because like there's like yeah, because I recognize the lyrics,
Mhm.
but it didn't sound like. I mean, obviously they had to like kind of fudge it up for reasons,
Yeah.
um, but the lyrics sounded a lot like the James Taylor "Up on the Roof" that I remember. I love that song, but
Um,
it was different.
so also going on the side, we had Stavros, who wants to, I think, poison people and kidnap
Yeah.
Laura. Um, and he, like, sneaks into the nurse's ball, and he's, like, lurking, and I thought it was really funny because he's, like, standing to the side, and anybody could just, like, look and see him, but he's sort of in the shadows, except there's a light across his eyes.
Hmm.
And they did the
Played
same
by
thing with
Robert Kelly
Caleb.
Kelly.
Yeah, played by Robert Kelly, who I know is problematic, but I like his characters that he plays. He's a good actor.
Yeah, it's rough because like he's a good beau and he's a good and which a lot of that's where a lot of the problematic stuff occurred
Yeah.
on Days of Our Lives.
Mhm.
And I liked him as Stavros.
I did
Well,
too. I didn't
yeah.
see him on Another World. I know he went to Another World after Days for a few years,
Um
like, towards the end.
Before Days and After Days.
Oh, that's
Because
right.
he played Sam Fowler. He played
Mhm,
Allie Fowler, who was played by at one point Lindsay Lohan, and at one point Alicia Lee Willis, who played Courtney
mhm.
on the show. We don't talk about Courtney except that she gave birth to
I
Spencer.
I didn't hate Courtney like everybody else did.
I maybe like their the ship name with Jason. I love the ship name Journey. That's probably the
Oh, great.
smartest ship name I've ever. I love that ship name. But he played Sam, and then he played Shane after Days.
Oh, he played 2 different
Two
characters on
different characters.
Desperate
Yep.
Friends? Alright.
Also a friend of Jill.
Really?
Yep.
Hmm.
Because she was on Another World when he was Shane, I
Oh,
believe. Yeah, so
the math is mathin'.
the math is nothing. Yep.
So he's, like, lurking, staring at Laura, and then right before Gia and Lucky start, like, they announce who's gonna be performing, and he, like, got distracted because he heard Nicholas's name, and he was, like, kinda like, "Oh, my baby's performing?" Like, he, like, got to, like, watch the performance.
Oh, baby.
Proud dad moment. I could pause on, like, poisoning everybody just to see my son sing
I
and
can
dance.
pause on poisoning everybody. By the way, I wanna bring this in before we move on. This was supposed to be a storyline written by kind of co-written by Anthony Gary called Endgame. So
Hmm.
now, if you guys can figure out why Endgame didn't happen, what's in the vial? Biotoxin. What happened the year? What happened in 2001? Shit.
Uh,
So yeah, 9/11 and anthrax. So we are not doing that. So basically, they had to like jettison that whole entire storyline to the point where they even had to put a warning saying that this was written before the events of 9/11.
really?
Yep. And then they jettisoned that storyline, and that's how Stavros ended up in the bottomless pit.
Well, this was the end of June of 2001, so I'm guessing
Yeah,
this
so
developed over the
this
summer.
is the beginning of Endgame, and
Yeah.
then it would have gone. through, I think it was a 6-month like storyline.
Yeah.
So would have hit September, and of course we all know what
They
happened in
had probably
September.
already, I mean, I don't know what the turnover was back then. It was probably at least 2, 3 weeks.
Yeah,
They probably had stuff through September.
yeah, they had stuff in the can.
Yeah. Wow. So was it drops or they just, like, changed, like, the
They
trajectory?
they changed the they aired what they could and then changed it, from what I understand.
I remember hearing on Daytime Confidential that I don't know if it was due to, like, school shootings or whatever, but for a while, there were, like, they stopped using guns on GH, like, with the mob stuff.
Yeah, I think I'm not sure if it was school shootings. I mean, that could be a reason.
Mhm.
It also could be network interference.
Yeah. It could've been both.
Yeah, or both.
But, back to the nurse's ball. So, yeah,
Yeah.
Stavros is a real, like, kid to watch his baby boy perform, and he literally walks into the middle of the room. Like, he walked behind Laura. All Laura had to do was, like, look through her peripheral vision to, like, notice him. But no, he just walks right by her.
Mhm.
Um, so, like I said, I've never seen a full nurse's ball, but to me, this seemed like, I don't know, like it was missing something. Like, were there less performances than usual?
I would say yes. Of course, because they put in the storyline with the bus and train crash.
Okay.
Um, I feel like that, and also they. So I this feels like the last Nurses Ball, which I believe it was.
It was,
So
yeah.
and then I looked at the credits and noticed, oh, Jill Farron Phelps is the EP. She doesn't know exactly what she's doing when it comes to the Nurses Ball. She probably didn't even want to do this.
Yeah, it
So
almost felt like they didn't wanna do it, and they were like, "We'll just
yeah,
do it
they
this
were
one
like,
last
we
time, and then that's it."
had to do it. We'll do it one more time, and then we'll just replace it with the Metro Core explosion.
Um, so Alan and Monica find Emily is brought in, and
Mhm.
she seems unresponsive, like, she doesn't have feeling in her feet, so she might be paralyzed.
She
Um,
is.
and Alan actually sings to her while she's, I guess, waiting for surgery. Like,
I posted that
nothing's gonna
earlier.
harm you, not while I'm around. I knew
Uh,
that song.
I posted that earlier, and everybody just yeah. It's
Aw.
a tissue moment. It's a tissue moment. I was like, should I wait until after I do the podcast, or should I? I was like, no, posting it now. I'm posting it now because I never need everybody to hear how talented Stuart Damon is. So
So once I started watching these episodes, I was like, "I think she leaves soon," but I couldn't remember
mhm.
because now she's, like, on the run with, like, Xander, and I'm like, I was like, "What happens?" Because they mentioned her graduating, and I'm like, "Does she go away to college?" And then when the accident happened, I was like, "Oh." So did they send her away to recover?
Yeah, she from what I remember, she goes to PT out of town. Like so out of town, and then she returns walking and played by Natalia Livingston.
2 years later.
2 year well, a year or
Yeah,
2 later, yeah.
yeah. And I guess that's why Xander got involved with Elizabeth?
Yes, and that's how we got Cameron.
Okay. Um, this
Lots
is
of
on.
history today in these episodes.
Yeah, it literally took me back because 'cause I'm like, I think I watched these." Um, so apparently Sonny's missing. Apparently Carly must have called the FBI on him for something, thinking she was
Mhm.
cute, and he didn't like that, so he's like, wants nothing to do with her. Um, and Alexis at this point, I guess, is Sonny's lawyer. I don't know if, like, they already slept together, made Christina, or that happens later on. I don't
I
really
think
remember
that's a
the
little
time.
later.
It's a little later.
Yeah, because
Uh,
Christina, the OG Christina, hasn't debuted yet.
mhm.
Because that's what causes Alexis to sleep with Sonny. That's basically the whole her. I think that's kind of what
Oh,
caused her.
that's right, her sister's name was Christina,
Her
right?
sister's name was Christina. Yeah,
The
the OG,
redhead?
the
She
redhead.
was the
Yep.
redhead? Oh, okay. See, I was watching it back then.
Yeah.
That's what reminds me. Um, so I thought it was funny because Alexis is basically like, "Oh, there's, like, a betrayal clause," because um, Carly's, like, pissed because Sunny apparently got control over her shares in Deception,
Mhm.
and she's like, "Sunny wouldn't do that to me. Like, how is this even possible?" Apparently, Alexis took it upon herself to put a deception, like a betrayal clause that her shares would revert to him, and so
Mm.
Carly's pissed. um, I'm trying to think. I think there was a third performance. Oh, Luke and Felicia.
Ah. Mm. Ugh.
So
I
this
have
I didn't
feelings.
remember. I was like, Luke and Felicia were a thing, really? I don't know how I feel about
For two
that.
seconds, two short seconds. We just forget about that. We forget about that.
Like, Felicia's not my favorite character. I like her, but I just feel like her and Luke are not on the same level as far as status in GH. Like, I prefer him with Tracy, honestly.
Oh yeah, he was great with Tracy. I
Um,
didn't even. What did you think of him and Anna? I thought they were a little fun, but then like it just petered out a lot for me.
I honestly didn't see any of that, so I don't really know. Um,
Okay, I think that was early, like cartoony.
um, See, I wasn't a big Luke and Laura fan because I didn't grow up with the show, and I found out how they started after the fact, so I kind of had a bad taste in my mouth with that.
Yeah, which and it's sad for me because like I didn't know growing up that this is how Luke and Laura were Luke and Laura.
Yeah, I didn't know
So
either. I was just like, oh, they're just
so
the big super
the
couple
only
from
thing that
GH.
my first exposure to them was literally like the during Roseanne they would play the Luke and Laura return, and I'm like,
I saw
this
that, yeah.
and the, and the actors have great chemistry.
Mhm.
I'll give them that until they didn't like each other anymore. And then
Well, this
allegedly,
week, earlier in the week, the first 2 episodes were them signing their divorce papers, and I have to
mm,
say I was sucked into the emotion of it all, of them
mm,
reminiscing, and G it was I wanna give it all the credit to Jeannie, but it was the both of them, because he was struggling with signing it, and I was like, "Okay, I get it. They have chemistry. I see it. I feel it."
mm-hmm.
Um I actually remember, do you remember that show Soap Center that was on SoapNet?
Yes.
I remember them referencing and showing the scenes from this. I didn't realize that it had probably only aired maybe a month prior to that.
Mm-hmm.
Because they were talking about it as if it was like this big moment in history that they got divorced.
Mm-hmm.
I was like, "Oh, that aired only in 2001? Alright."
Was this when Luke threw his ring over the pier? I think I remember that. This might have been after that, after this week.
I didn't see that happen.
Okay, it might have been after it because I remember Luke throwing his ring, or maybe it was before. It was either before or after it. I know that there was Lucky dies. Luke sleeps with Tammy, the waitress at Kelly's. I think they go to get divorced. Like they announced they were separating. I think
Mhm.
that's when Luke threw his ring when they were separated. When they were separating, they didn't divorce until like, of course, this week. So oh, and
Um,
then Lucky comes back, but they still get divorced anyway. So
yeah, when he came back, wasn't he, like, brainwashed by
yeah,
Helena?
by Helena, and that's when Bobby punched her out.
Um, but also Mac and Felicia apparently had to decided not to be together anymore. Not I don't know if
Which that's the sin and the shame.
I don't know if they were married and got divorced also, or they just
Oh, wait a minute. So that takes us to our first. No, was it the first crossover? One of the first crossovers between Port Charles and General Hospital. So I want to. What was it? It was Lucy and Kevin. They go to get married, but it turns out that Lucy accidentally caused Serena to go blind. Yep. So she siphoned gas, and that's how I first heard the word siphoned gas from Scott's car.
Okay.
And the car went over the cliff, and that's what caused Serena's blindness.
Okay.
E found out about this. E found out that that's how Serena went blind, and she presented that during the wedding. And
Mhm.
Lucy and Kevin didn't get married, but Mac and Felicia did.
Oh,
So they have been married since at least 1998, I want to say,
okay.
but I'm not sure when they got divorced.
Okay. It almost seemed like Luke and her were ending things with their previous partners so that they could start whatever
Yeah.
was happening. I was like, I don't know how I feel about this.
No,
Um,
and then where does that leave Mac? I mean, we all know what happens with Laura, but where does that leave Mac?
Mac was supposed to still perform with her, but because of the accident downstairs, he got pulled away. And I'm like,
No,
why?
I meant like couple wise. Like, if we're
Oh,
going to mix up, if we're going to have Luke with Felicia, if we're going to have Laura with Scott, which that was a great decision. Like that basically pulled Ken Schreider back from the supernatural stuff, which I'm not even sure if he wanted to even do that. I'll have
hmm.
to ask him that. See if see if I can present that question on Twitter. But
Yeah, I
but
laughed because he's in the
like,
credits for Port Charles, but he must have been recurring, I guess, on GH at the
yeah,
time.
so him uh actually, technically, if you want to be technical, all the Poor Charles characters are technically recurring on GH, but it's weird. It's weird. It's weird. So, like
Well, we didn't see anybody from Port Charles except for Scott,
Scott and Serena
and Amanda Barrington
and Amanda
on
Barrington.
the
Yeah,
GH side of the Nurses Ball. Those were
yeah.
the
And
only
then
two.
Allison had crossed over before, but she didn't cross over this time.
And then, of course, Lucy, but she's
Lucy and Kevin.
the
Yeah.
host, so. um, so on GH, we see Serena and Lucy's relieved, and I'm just like, why is she so relieved? Because I didn't watch Port Charles yet, not knowing that her and Karen were on the train to New York and they couldn't
Mm-hmm.
find her. And like, I was like, oh, I watched this the wrong way.
So I was like, "Oh, Serena, you're okay. Who are you?" And then there's this little boy that just appears. I'm like, "Oh, who are you?"
Yeah, I was like, is this like a real character? Or is he just like a day player? Like, who is this?
And it looks like he's an under five, and we
Right.
won't hear from him ever again.
um, on Port Charles, Joe and Gabby go to the nurses' ball and she performs. I think she was the first performance because there was only two on Port
Mm-hmm.
Charles. Um, but before that, she has a run-in with Caleb,
Ooh.
who it kind of puts her in a trance, and she's like, "Do I know you?" And he's like, "You're about to," or "You're something along those lines.
Mm-hmm.
um, so she starts acting a little strange, and
Yeah,
she's doing her
I should
performance.
say.
She's doing her performance, and now Caleb is lurking where Stavros was
Mm-hmm.
in the shadows, but there's a light across his eyes.
Wow, lurking at this nurse's ball.
Right? I was like, I wonder if him and Stavros cross paths.
He'd be like, "Hey, brother, how you doing? How you going? Good."
They were on days at the same time for a little bit.
That's right, they were.
For a few months.
Hey, Tanner, hi,
um so then Caleb and Gabby kind of make eye contact while she's on stage, and that's makes her performance become a little more risque. She starts taking
Vanta.
off her gloves.
Let
um
me entertain you.
and she kind of gives light heavy petting lap dances to Victor and Joe, and she pulls Joe on stage and she rubs up on him. Her dress comes off and she's kind of wearing shorties underneath it,
Mm-hmm.
and she's still wearing the top of the dress. I guess it was a two-piece.
It's like a wrap around top, so that way.
Yeah.
doom,
and
doom.
she's kinda spinning around and flashing Joe while her back is towards us, but
Mhm.
insinuating she's flashing Joe. So she's basically doing a striptease. And she ends up taking off her whole top, and Joe, like, covers her and, like, pulls her
Covers
off
her up.
stage. Lucy's pissed, and that's why I think this is funny that they now do a Magic Mike thing every year because Lucy was like, "This is a family event," and I'm like, "Well,
Well, we have
I'm
Magic
just going
Milo.
Um, the other performance was Livy, Jamal, and Allison, and it was Allison, I guess, being a witch of some sort,
Love potion
and
number 9.
Jamal and Livy were, like, nerdy, and they sang Love Potion Number 9. I thought it was really cute. I actually laughed a
I
lot.
thought it was I love how, Erin, played the witch. She's like, "All I need is love potion number 9."
Yeah, I thought it was cute.
I loved how she, like, played around with, like, her voice with, like, how Allison has, like, a more youthful, squeaky voice.
Mhm.
So, and she played it, and they did it so well. That's the one I remember too. Obviously I remember Gabby's. I mean,
Yeah.
everybody remembers Gabby's. If they are a Poor Charles fan, you remember Gabby's performance. But I also remember, Love Potion number 9. I love that. And then when they did the nurses ball, I forgot how many years ago they did. I remember Jax and Chloe did Cheek to Cheek.
Okay.
And then I remember what was the one with Victor? Victor did one, but with Mary, and I thought that was really cute. But I forgot what it was.
Um, so this is what made me think, like, I know Port Charles is a shorter show, so obviously 2 performances, that's a lot. But that's what made me think, like, this feels quicker and, like, less put together than I expected it to be. Like, I expected it to be, like, a week-long thing almost. Did they used to be, like, longer, like, almost a full week?
I feel like that this was like more drawn out. In fact, the Port Charles General Hospital crossovers were a little bit more seamless. Uh,
Mhm.
this one feels like that. So Julie Hannon Carruthers is the EP of Port Charles at the time.
Yeah.
And Jill Farron Phelps, we mentioned this before, is the EP of General Hospital. I
Mhm.
feel like that they were obligated to do this when Wendy Reich left, and
Okay.
they didn't really want to do it. Port Charles wanted to do its own thing. GH wanted to do its own thing. They're obligated to cross over for some reason, and
Which could be why we didn't see, except for, like, Amanda Barrington and Scott, like,
mhm.
on the GH side, like, more Port Charles characters, because they were probably trying to sever the supernatural from GH,
They're trying
like,
to sever
having
the
it
sever
separate.
the
Also, probably why it was the last one.
yeah, and then also what was I gonna say? Um, I was gonna say something about like something related to that.
Them
Oh,
not
there was so I remember there was a year where it was Catherine Bell, and I think this was 97 or 98, I want to say. I think it was 98.
okay,
Catherine Bell and Eve conspired to ruin the nurses Lucy's hosting of the nurses ball. So there was more of that
okay,
entanglement with the Port Charles characters. Christina was like first introduced during a nurses ball.
okay.
There was a lot. And then I think the first nurses ball had General Homicide.
Oh,
I'm
really?
not 100% sure. Yeah, I think General Homicide was one of the first nurses balls. But I'm forgetting if there was one in 97. I think there was, but I'm forgetting what happened with that.
That would've been pretty soon into Port
Yeah,
Charles'
it would
first
have been
month.
very soon the Port Charles, because Port Charles only premiered the 1st of June,
Yeah.
and the nurses ball kind of was in mid June, the second or third week, I guess.
Hmm. I don't know. I don't even. I think I watched that much, but I don't really remember.
I'll have to look. I mean, there are episodes of Port Charles from every every year. I'll figure it out.
But much like GH, the doctors and nurses are dealing with the accident. So Eve and Ian and Chris are downstairs dealing with the injured people.
Hmm.
Um, so I guess that's why we didn't get performances from them, which kind of disappointed me. I would have liked to see Eve or Chris even perform. um, Jack leaves early because he's not feeling so good. He says he's gonna try and like sleep it off or whatever.
Hmm.
Um, and I liked how they kind of worked in because I think this is like a known thing that Lucy always her dress always falls off or something.
Hmm.
Does that still happen?
I don't think it does. I think they
No.
stopped that.
Okay. Well, it was an old school.
And also, the last
Nurses
one
walk
didn't
off.
even have Lucy as the host. It was Maxie.
Oh, really?
Yeah, because Lucy was presumed dead,
Oh, okay.
and Lucy was watching the nurses' ball
Okay, so she was still on.
with Maxie was ball, and she was so pissed off, and she was really getting on because I guess I forgot why Valentine and Anna were there,
Mhm.
but she was like so pissed off, and then Valentine and Anna were like, "We're just trying to have some time together." Watch the nurses' ball.
um. Oh, we got to see Robin Richards. I think her name is as Maxie,
Yeah.
and we got to see like a baby. Well, not a baby, but like a younger Georgie.
Hmm.
And it also kind of made me think, like, I know they recasted Maxie for like 6 months, and then they brought Robin Richards back because the recast wasn't
We
working.
don't talk about Jessica, what's her name?
Bennett from Passions,
No, no, I was gonna call her Jessica, oh my god, what is Maxie's last name?
the character
Yeah, the character. What is Maxie's last name?
Jones.
Oh, we don't talk about Jessica Jones.
Oh.
Oh, well, wait a minute. It's a DC character, so we really don't talk about her.
But it made me wonder because I looked it up, and she's only like 2 or 3 years younger than Kirsten Storms,
Hmm.
and I was like, I wonder why they decided to not just keep her. And then I was like, well, at the time, maybe she was graduating, maybe she wanted to go to college, and that's why they recasted. Because Kirsten Storms has always read as younger, like even now,
Hmm.
like she just has a baby face.
She reads as young. Yeah, she does read as younger.
So that's why I was like, it really to me didn't make sense if they could keep the original, like
I mean,
how they
stunt
had
casting
Robin.
is the reason
You think that was a
because
stunt casting?
she was just coming out of Days of Our Lives. Well, no, she would have been in Clubhouse, that short-lived show Clubhouse.
Yeah, it was
Because
like in between.
I actually met remember Jesse from General Hospital?
Yeah,
I met him. I was
you
at
did.
Fun in the Sun and he was there and I talked to him for a little bit.
While he was on GH.
Well, he was on GH, yeah.
Oh, cool. He was also on Clubhouse.
Yeah, he was, yeah, so we talked that's what we talked about. We were like I forgot what the conversation was, but he said, "Yeah, I worked with her a little bit on Clubhouse." So,
Which I found on YouTube, by the way. It's all on
ooh,
YouTube. I never seen it, so I was like,
maybe
I
a
may
gone
check
but not
that
forgotten.
out. I don't know if it reads as a soap opera or I don't know what. I actually have know
Mm,
nothing about it, which is probably why I got canceled because people like me didn't watch it.
yeah.
um, so back to the nurses' ball. So it's over. Apparently, not Stavros, Stefan Cassadine, doubles whatever the donations were. Um, it's I forgot who said it, but somebody was like, "Show off." Maybe it was Luke.
Oh yeah, yep. That would be a Luke thing. That would be something Luke would say.
Oh, and we didn't finish this. So Matt got called back down to help out, which I don't know why. He's not a doctor. He's not a nurse. They didn't really need police down there. He's not a cop. I don't think.
Was he a cop at the time?
I don't know. They basically just like your experience. I'm like, in what? You don't really need him. This it just felt like a contrived way to get
Yeah,
him
it's
to
kind of
not
like,
perform.
yeah. I mean, it's
um,
kind of similar. I mean, well, except Kevin is technically a doctor because he's a psychiatrist. So,
yeah.
and he was needed for like trauma support. I guess that's what they said. I don't know.
So Luke ends up performing with Felicia, and he's not happy with the song that's being played, so he cuts it off. And what was the song that they played for him that was more his style? Um,
Wait, so the first one was like it wasn't Road Warrior, but what was the other song?
it was something with a paddle.
Yeah, something with a paddle. Old Time Rock and Roll.
That was the one he picked for
That was
him.
one he picked. Yeah, but the other song, oh god,
This was a
was it?
cute little note, like that I saw that Laura was smiling during it, like she was enjoying it, and Scotty was just like rolling his eyes, like because it was Luke.
Laura's like, "Yay, he's happy. He's happy without me. I can be with Scott now." That's how I read it. And Scott's like, "Oh, police." The greatest thing about the character of Scott Baldwin is that he will never be he will never like if unless somebody writes him differently, he always has an axe to grind with both Luke and Sonny.
Okay.
Yep. So
Okay. um. So Lucy buys like 100 pizza pies for all the nurses and the doctors downstairs. She's in like a casual dress, and she gets it snagged on something, and it rips her dress off. So
on
there
the
goes the
gurney.
tradition of her dress falling off.
Yeah, we saw her underwear.
Yeah. Um. So Livy goes. Well, Livy, Allison, and Jamal go back to the bike shop because I guess Allison and Jamal's apartment's like right across from it, and Jack has a room in the bike shop or behind the bike shop. So Livy
Somewhere
goes
in
to check on him, and he's not there. Apparently, he never made it home. Um, he gets cornered in an alley by Sam, the biker slut, not
oh,
McCall,
her. Not McCall.
and Zach's crew, and they want to beat him up for killing Zach, even though he swears he didn't do it, and for like messing the deal up with the diamonds that he threw while he was racing.
Mm-hmm.
Um, I remembered this scene slightly, but I didn't really remember how it played out. I wasn't sure if Jack was gonna like Hulk out and just like beat everybody up, or if Caleb was gonna come to his rescue.
That's yes, that's the same train of thought I was thinking. I was like, wait a minute, is this gonna be something that Caleb has something to do with, or is it something that Jack has something to do with? Turns
Yeah,
out it's kind of both.
it's Jack under Caleb's influence.
Yeah.
So at first he's losing, he's getting the crap beat out of him, and then he just kind of like rages out and beats the shit out of everybody.
Turns into Bill Bixby and beats everybody up.
And Jamal comes up, finds him, and is like, "What the hell is going on with you?" Like, and they hear Allison coming, and Jack just kind of like crawls
And he
into
gets thrown, so
he,
Jamal gets thrown too. So
so he gets like he hides behind a dumpster so Allison can't see him,
mhm.
and Jamal just kind of like gets her out of there because he doesn't want her to see like everything that
Mhm.
happened. Um, I'm trying to think what else happened. Oh, so now Livy, because Jack's not there, and Allison and Jamal scurried off,
Mhm.
um, comes face to face with Caleb again,
Mhm.
and he basically puts her in a trance, and he's like, "We're gonna be together, Olivia." And she's kind of like into it, but not because she's also like, "No, I love Jack. Like, I, I'm with somebody."
Stop,
And
please, no.
he's like, "That's cute. Come with me."
That's cute. Yeah, come with me. Come on. Yeah, come on. We're going to my lair.
Yeah, he brings her home to his lair, like you said, and it basically looked like it was a cave, but there was like a bed set up
Mhm.
and candles.
And candles and the iconic. I think this is where that iconic photo of Livy laying down in bed with Caleb like looking at her. I think that takes
Mhm.
place in that lair.
Yeah, probably. Yeah, I remember those in the promos.
Yep.
um, I think that's how it ended that week.
Yeah, it did.
So, did I miss anything?
I mean, there was a character named Angel in General Hospital that we're just gonna throw it out of the way. So
Who was dressed in all white
dressed in
all
all
the
white. That
time?
that pissed me off as a kid. Like it made me want to change my wardrobe to all black because I knew people watched General Hospital. I was like, for many years, I always wanted a character named Angel on a soap opera. Yes, we got one on As the World Turns, but she didn't really last that long. Look, we got a good story with Angel on As the World Turns, but she didn't really last that long, and they didn't really bring her back. So it's like, why did we just have a character named Angel on a soap opera? Like, just that's all I wanted. Be careful what you wish for. Like, not only was she bland to me. She was bland to me.
Uh-huh.
She wore all white, and I'm like, no, we're not having that. No, 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 we're not doing that.
In the preview for one of the episodes, I didn't watch the next one. She was in a bathing suit, and it was a white bathing suit. Also, I was like, really, they're really
Jesus
doubling down on this
Christ,
white
Megan McCraft.
thing. But okay, so I was like, she looks so familiar. Why does she look familiar? Has she been on other soaps? Do you know who I
That is
thought
so
she
funny.
was? Do you remember when Kane got like another woman pregnant like 5 years ago? And I think she was working for what I don't remember even what company Kane was working for at the time on YNR.
Oh,
Um,
Angel Waters was on there.
it wasn't her. I thought it was her, and I'm
Oh,
like,
okay.
but I was like, but she looks young in 2001. I was like, so I was like, I feel like she would have aged by 2016 or 17, and I'm like, so it's probably not the same. So I found Angel Boris IMDb, and I found out why she looks familiar. Did you watch 90210 like all the way
Yeah.
through?
Yep.
He was blonde on 90210, and she was Emma, the girl that Brandon cheated on Kelly with at the newspaper. And I was like, this is
Ah.
the brunette hair was what was throwing me off, but her face, I was like, it looks so familiar. So that's what it was.
Yep. That's exactly what it was. I can't look. I can like. Okay, so it has nothing to do with really Angel Boris.
Mhm,
It feels like that they named her Angel just because, like, oh, Angel Boris,
mhm.
like woman in white. Let's name her Angel. That sort of thing. Um, I wasn't. I don't feel. I wasn't feeling Megan McTavish just writing on GH. So just as a broad scope for me, especially because of the character of Angel. Like she
Okay.
was a Brenda bot, first of all. um,
I laughed. I thought about that. I was like, "Oh, was she a Brenda bot?" Because she was
she was a
brunette.
Brenda bot. And she was like, "Oh, the woman in white named Angel," and then as a person named Angel, I'm like, don't like this, don't like this. But I'll give them this: as soon as Sorrel died, she changed. She stopped wearing white, which actually really puts her put. Actually, what happened was that like she killed her dad, and then well, Jax basically like makes her leave town. So
Okay.
she was only, but she did make the opening credits. So and
She
so did
did.
Helena, and so did Stavros. Yeah, Stavros. I'm like I'm forgetting his name. Stavros for
That must
like a good like few months.
yeah, that must change soon because I was laughing because they still have Sarah Brown in the credits, even though Tamara Braun's been Carly for 2 months at this point.
Right. I forgot about that. I saw her in there.
And I was like, "Well, Emily's leaving and Sarah's not on." I was like, "So they're probably gonna change the credits soon."
I want I because when Sarah not Sarah when Tamara Braun left, they very quickly changed it to Jennifer Bransford. And then when Jennifer Bransford got fired,
Mhm.
they took her out in a snap. And then when Laura Wright premiered like a few months later, they added her in
Mhm.
and took Reese out, who was another Brenda Papa. Who cares?
I forgot about Reese.
The only good thing about her was the like her pose in the opening credits. I like kind of come hither look.
I was what was I watching? Oh, maybe it was when Sam first came on the show. I just wanted to watch that time period,
Mm-hmm.
and the actress that played Lily was like back, but she was like haunting Sunny, like she was pretending to be a ghost.
I
And I was
forgot
just
what
like, "Oh my
happened.
god." I was like, "I can't believe she," like, I didn't even remember that she came back.
Yeah,
I
I
was like, "They
remember
just always
that.
had a brunette. They just always had a brunette."
Yeah, I remember that they had Lily. Well, I guess the ghost of Lily or something with Lily coming back,
Mhm.
but I don't know what that was. I don't know if they dropped that storyline. I don't know if like there was a solution and the solution happened when I wasn't watching the show because I was watching Guiding Light. Uh,
Yeah,
I don't know what happened with her. So.
I don't either. I'm a little unclear if that was Lily and she didn't die in the Clink Boom thing, but and she was just hiding out. Like, I'm not really sure. Or if she was just a
Yeah,
lookalike. I'll have to look into it.
yeah.
But I think that's everything. Unless there's something I missed you want to talk about.
So I want to. I just want to go on a brief little rant.
Go ahead.
I mean, since we're talking about General Hospital, so I mentioned Jennifer Bransford. I'm gonna bring her up real quick. So yes, it has been well known that I do have my issues with Jennifer Bransford as Carly, but let me tell you the reason why. If
Okay.
you look at the final scene of Tamara Braun as Carly,
Uh-huh.
and if you look at the first scene with Jennifer Bransford as Carly, there's my issue. Watch
Okay.
those scenes back to back. Tamara plays a little bit differently than Jennifer did. That was all of our issues. All of this Carl Lee stuff, that wasn't, I didn't play that.
Uh-huh.
But it was just a different acting style that we had that we didn't gel with. And that's probably what got her fired.
Do you think it would have been more acceptable if Carly would have just been presumed dead or left town and for a little bit and then she came on?
The only way that would have happened is if they gave Tamara Braun an extension
Oh.
because remember she left one episode, Jennifer Bransford took over the next episode, the very next episode.
Okay.
So the only way that would have happened is if we were like, hey, can you stay on so we can end this cycle, stay on for this next cycle, so that way, we
Yeah.
can write your character out and then recast you. I
Yeah.
Yeah, I think from because if you were playing if you saw the episodes back to back, it was
Mhm.
literally like a day and then Jennifer Bransford premiered. So
I feel like I might be remembering this wrong, but I remember Carly, like, faking her death, like, in 2002, maybe?
hmm,
I think she walked in on Sunny with a woman. It could have been Alexis, it could have been somebody else. And she, like, ran off, and I think there was a car accident, and she was presumed dead, and they had, like, a funeral and everything, and she showed up at the funeral.
when she came on her own funeral.
Yes.
Yes, yes, I remember that. I think she was presumed dead at that point.
So maybe they should have did something like that.
Yes, because she came so Tamara Braun ended her run with Sunny sleeping with Reese. And she came in and
Oh, it was Reese. Okay, so it
it was
wasn't Mark.
Reese, yeah. But that wasn't when she faked her death, or what? Not faked her death, but like when she was presumed dead.
Oh,
That was
right,
earlier.
right.
Walked to
Right.
her own funeral. Oh God. Oh, Guza.
That's right, 'cause I was watching when Kirsten Storms first came on as Maxie, and Reese was still around,
Mhm.
and I remember Jennifer Bransford's Carly giving Reese a hard time, and Michael was giving her a hard time because he's like, "You're not my mom. You're not my parents."
And her and Sam had that epic fight. See, that's what could
Yes.
have kept her. That fight with Sam. Oh, that was so good.
So good. But, alright, if you don't have anything else to add about the nurses'
Nope.
ball, I guess we should wrap this up. We ran long tonight.
Yeah, ran a little long.
But, alright, well, thank you for joining us for another edition of Poor Charles Tainted Love / GH Nurses Ball edition. As always, you can find us on all the socials at Queers and Soaps, and until next time, have a great night. Bye.
Bye.